Hello everyone, Tara Lynn here. Welcome to the color palette Dot Along. Today I am working with the color palette called Pink Glam, and I'm just mixing up my colors here with just a little bit of Floetrol. Sometimes I do that. It helps with thinning the color just a pinch. Some of the paints I use are a little old. Give me a moment here and I will tell you what colors I am using. They are pictured up in the corner. Our colored palette Dot Alongs are ways for us to try out a new color palette that maybe we would not have tried or considered before. And this one is a lovely combination of pinks and reds. So I'm just going to make sure I don't have any clumps or bumps in my paint. The surface I'm using is about 5.5 inches. I've got my background painted black. And here is the color palette that I am using. I have got in order of lightest to darkest. Let me turn off my light here. It's very bright in the studio today. Okay, I've got DecoArt Baby Blush or Baby Pink. Those are two very similar colors. I've got Electric Pink, which on camera, it doesn't show how vibrant this color is. This is a really vibrant color. I've got Dragon Fruit, which is my mid-tone here. I've got Watermelon Slice, and I've got Cinnamon Drop. And so, my light's driving me nuts. So that's what I'm working with today. Here is my surface. I'm going to use a 16-arm stencil. Again, my surface is about 5.5 inches. The idea with the color palette Dot Along, like I said, is really just to try a new color palette. So it's okay to follow along with me step by step, but it is also okay for you just to try this color palette with whatever design that you want to try. So I'm going to use a 16-arm stencil, but feel free to try any stencil you like. Just going to quickly get this on there. Oops. All right, so I've got my stencil on there. I am going to do one last thing before I get started, and this electric pink is really vibrant, so I'm going to add a pinch of the baby pink to it and a pinch of that dragon fruit just to tone it down ever so slightly. I don't want to change the color as much as I just want to take it off that fluorescent spectrum there. All right. Here we go. All right, so again, I don't have set designs when I do these color palette Dot Alongs. I really am just experimenting, and I'm going to go ahead and start my center dot with an 8mm center. And I'm going to use the cinnamon drop. Move this. There we go. 8mm cinnamon drop center dot. Then I'm going to take my 1.5mm tool and I'm going to use that electric pink. We're going to do a ring of 8. I'm going to continue using my 1.5mm stylus. I'm going to use my baby pink, and I am going to dip and swipe outward right next to each one of these dots. So that was baby pink. I'm going to go down to my 1mm stylus. So this one is pretty small. Got a glob of paint on there. I desperately need to clean my tools. All right, 1mm stylus. I am going to use the cinnamon drop. And what I'm going to do is walk the dots. I'm going to start down here by my electric pink. And I'm going to walk 5 dots outward on each side. So that was my 1mm stylus, and I walk the dots on each side of the baby pink. All right, I'm going to get my 4mm dotting rod. I'm going to use my middle tone, which is Dragon Fruit. And I'm going to place a dot in between those rays I just created. So for me, that's my first stencil ring, is where I'm placing these. Your stencil might be a little different from mine. That was 4mm Dragon Fruit. I'm going to use my 3mm dotting rod in the same color, Dragon Fruit, the middle tone, and I'm going to place a slightly smaller dot right next to that previous dot we just made. So 8 dots in Dragon Fruit, 3mm. I'm going to get my 2mm dotting rod, again, same color. I'm going to add one more dot here in this ray. Two millimeters Dragon Fruit. Then what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to show you with my chalk outline here, is I'm going to walk the dots from this 2mm into or towards this baby pink swipe that we did. So visually, that's where we're going. If it helps you, you can make those marks all the way around, because we know the chalk will wipe off when we're done. So we're going to walk the dots using 1.5mm and that baby pink. I can fit 5 dots comfortably, so I'm going to do 5 dots on each side, and we're going to do that all the way around. When you walk the dots, you dip once and dot in a row. Next, we're going to go back to our 4mm dotting rod, and I'm going to use this watermelon slice, and we are going to place a dot right at the end of each of those petals. For me, this is where my second ring of the stencil starts. Oops, got a little hair in that one. I really love this watermelon slice color. This is just such a fun color. It's not reading as pretty on camera as it is in person, but it's just a little bit red and a little bit pink, and I absolutely love it. All right, so we have 8 watermelon slice dots, and I'm going to use the same color, watermelon slice, my 2mm stylus, and I am going to swoop on each side. I'm going to do the right side first, and then I'll go back and do the left. We're swooping right down the side of those petals. Just need to fix this one a little pinch. There we go. All right, I am going to get my 8mm dotting rod and our cinnamon drop, our darkest red here, and I'm going to add one large 8mm dot at the end of each of these petals. And I am going to make some swipes next. So inside each of these 2 dots, we're going to do a set of swipes inward, kind of like a fan. I'm going to start with my 2mm dotting tool, and I'm going to use my baby pink. And I am on a ring, so I'm going to go ahead and use that guideline. I'm going to start here, and I need to probably double or triple swipe this to get all the way where I want it to go. But I'm going to create a nice long swipe right down the center there. So we're going to do that 8 times. Right next to that, I'm going to use that electric pink, and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to put one on each side. It's hard to see the difference on camera, but they are 2 different colors. I am absolutely going to have to post a picture of this after my live. I will post a picture on my Facebook page because the beauty of these colors is just not coming across on camera today. I'm gonna see if I can't change the tone. This helps. All right, this definitely helps the colors look more true. Still not as pretty as what I can see here in person, but it's a little closer. I think we have a lot of snow here, and it's just really changing. We've got a lot of that blue end of the spectrum reflecting. All right, so I'm going to continue with these long swipes. So I'm still using my 2mm. This one is the middle color, Dragon Fruit. Next, I'm going to use this watermelon slice. This time I'm going to make sure I go all the way from the end all the way into that little triangle there. Right, I think next I'm going to, I think I'm feeling some pins. I'm going to get my 6mm tool and baby pink. And in the ray, with these cinnamon drop dots, I'm going to put a pink 6mm dot, baby pink. And I'm going to pull that into a teardrop. So I'm going to do this 8 times. So here's number 2, number 3, All right, so those were 6mm teardrops in baby pink. All right, I'm going to use my 3mm dotting rod in electric pink. And up here by the points, I'm going to place 1 dot on each side. So this is 3mm electric pink. Once I have all of those placed, I'm going to use the 2.5mm stylus in electric pink, and I'm going to swipe on each side. Next, I'm going to take my 3mm dotting rod, and I'm going to use my dragon fruit, and I'm going to repeat this step by dotting 1 3mm dot on each side, and then again the second part of this step is 2.5mm stylus, dragon fruit, and I'm going to pull a swoop. Then I want to bring some of this rich cinnamon drop color into these spaces. So I'm going to repeat this element, which is an 8mm cinnamon drop dot. Oops. I knew when I went back and tried to fix that one, I was going to mess it up. And then because I'm repeating this, I'm going to take my 4mm and watermelon slice. And I'm going to place one dot right next to that one. And that is it for the base of the design. I really like this. I wish you could see the vibrancy of the colors on camera. I'm excited to share the picture on my Facebook page. I am going to mute myself for just a moment so I can dry this and add some top dots. So that's what I'm going to do next. All right, so I think I'm dry enough to go ahead and add some top dots. I don't have a lot of options as far as bliss drops go. That's what I was looking about in my Nuvo drops, but I just got this Love Spell bliss drops. This was part of the winter, the holiday collection from Veronica Luck and Deserted Bliss. And I've used the paint, but I have not yet used the drops. So that is what I am going to do, is add some drops or some top dots with this because it's got some sparkle. So I'm going to place one there in the middle. Of course, placed it off center, tried to fix it, messed the whole thing up. Let's try that again. There we go, just popping the bubble and making sure that's centered. There we go. And then I am going to add dots on each of the 8 millimeters. So when those dry, those will be a really pretty, again, hard to see on camera, but it's got a beautiful sparkle in that red. So I'm excited for those. Whenever I use bliss drops, they always dry so nicely. They are more glittery and more sparkly than anything else I've used. Definitely better. I love Nouveau drops, don't get me wrong, but these sparkle in a way that the Nouveau drops, even the glitter ones, do not. So excited for that to dry. I think the only other thing that I want to do is I'm going to add a little watermelon slice on these pins. So I'm going to get my 2 millimeter stylus. I'm going to use watermelon slice, and I'm going to pull a center swipe right down these pins. Or I'm sorry, they're teardrops. Right down these teardrops. And there you have it. This is what I came up with for the Pink Glam color palette. The colors are much more vibrant. They look a lot more like what's in this picture. So if you want to see the final piece, check on my Facebook page in about a half hour. I will post that there. And I would love to see what you create. So if you use this palette, please feel free to share it with me. I have a free Facebook group called Dot Mandala Artists USA. You can share in there. You can also tag me on the socials at Teralyn Pugh Artist. I cannot wait to see what you've created, whether you followed along with me step by step or did your own thing with this color palette. I do my color palette dot-alongs every 2 weeks for free here on my Facebook page, so I would love it if you found value in my content, if you'd give me one of these, and then also if you'd follow my page. It helps small creators in such a big way when you follow their content. Thank you so much for hopping in, whether you joined live or joined on the replay, and I'll see you next time.